Okie dokie. Welcome to Change by the Minute. Let's start with who you are and what you do.
My name is Adam Sutcliffe. At the moment, the only thing I do is I'm the visiting professor of innovation and entrepreneurship at the Royal College of Art.
And how did we first connect?
We first connected because you were one of my students when I was the senior lecturer in engineering and design at Queen Mary University in London about a decade ago.
And how would you say you've changed your corner of the world?
I think I've changed my corner of the world in a slightly different way. So the last 4 years, I looked after and cared for my mum, who she had a stroke, which removed her ability to speak. And then 2 years after that, she developed terminal cancer and suddenly died 4 months ago. So my focus the last 4 years, not only was I working, but I was, caring for her and trying to make her life as comfortable as it possibly can be.
And you did that really well. I'm so proud to have seen you during that time in the relationship you guys
Oh,
had. So
thanks.
lucky to have met her.
Oh, thank you.
So what's next?
Next is working out what the hell I want to do with my life. I'm 52 now, and my focus was pretty much entirely on mum the last 4 years. With mum gone, and also me being removed from London, where I'd spent the last 30 years working and living, I now need to consolidate the past sort of 30 years of life experience and decide on what direction I'm going to go next, what battles I'm going to fight, and what things I'm going to explore and change.
And what do you see as the biggest hurdle between you and what's next?
Me. I'm definitely the biggest hurdle because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different result. Although I've not done exactly the same thing repeatedly over the last 20 years, I've applied broadly the same mindset. And I think that needs focus and change because I've only really got, let's say, 20 years left of good working life, and I need to maximize the results of that. So it's definitely me.
And what do you see as the biggest change for your industry this year?
Hmm. Hmm. That's a tricky one. I don't think there's going to be much of a change this year. I mean, AI is going to affect everything, but it won't necessarily affect what I do. I think it'll potentially affect what the students are involved in because AI provides or has the ability to provide or create tools that you weren't able to prototype. I'm mostly on the innovation design engineering course. I'm already seeing it change the scope and the scale and the focus of those projects. That's definitely going to increase because you can rapidly prototype businesses now in weeks rather than part of an idea.
So, what is something that has changed your mind in the last month?
What's AI? AI always changes my mind. There's some changing of the minds, but there's a lot of, oh, yeah, I didn't even really realize that or know that. I think I use it to explore the reasons why something is happening more than how it can be solved. Because for me, that's my superpower is problem solving, rapid problem solving. Although I can't think of a specific thing, I know that while exploring things, that learning has changed my outlook on a particular situation.
What is the change you most want to see in the world?
I would like to see people thinking more esoterically and thinking more outwardly than inwardly, doing that by questioning themselves. Specifically, if I could change everything, I would get people to meditate and think about what consciousness is.
What is something that never fails to change your mood?
Dancing, dancing around and bringing a smile to someone's face and seeing bits of Yorkshire, which is where we are now.
Speaking of Yorkshire and putting a smile on people's faces, your front garden, and there you have a massive holly tree. which you've turned into a beautiful Christmas tree that people can see from half a kilometer away. So you are something that never fails to change people's moods, I think,
Oh,
Adam. Let
good.
me just add that.
Thank you.
And finally, we get to a change of pace, and you'd like to speak on advice you'd give to startup founders or those considering beginning their own startup journeys.
My favourite subject, there's one of a few, I suppose, soapboxes. If you look at the top 10 reasons that startups fail, the top 7 of those all actually stem from failure in one thing, which is understanding the value proposition. So what that means is, what is the problem you're actually solving for whom? What is the value that you're going to deliver? So many startups fail because they aren't solving a problem, or they don't understand the problem that they're solving to its fullest extent. As I said, like literally 70% of startups fail because they rush to create something that actually no one needs, or no one wants, or no one understands, or no one realizes the needs. And that all comes from not actually understanding who has the problem, what that problem actually is, and then being able to frame it in a way that your audience, your prospects know that that is a solution that is going to help them. That's the number one thing.
Have you seen a lot of journeys where it doesn't solve that problem, but with a reframing, you still have something that is valuable?
That can happen, but only if you put the time into understanding what the problem is. What starts out as being the problem might not actually be the problem. It's like using the 7 whys, which is a really good tool where you ask why 7 times and you get to the crux of the problem by exploring that problem and going, right, okay, so what's causing this? Okay, what's causing that? And then what's causing that? Doing that, you learn so much about the area you're in. You might find a much more interesting problem to solve, or a much more valuable problem to solve, or a much more needed problem to solve. So yeah, you can totally change, but you've got to go viciously and also naively into investigating the problem, and absolutely not be scared of asking why. In fact, make sure that you do ask why. Make sure that you don't start a journey where you think you already know the answer, because you'll come out finding that your answer is the best. You've got to start with complete naivety and the hunger for finding out what's actually going on.
And I think that advice can go to people who've been in business.
It's even harder if you're in a company that already exists. You've been doing the same thing, for a long time. One of the challenges is to reframe, is to change that mindset and go, hold on, is there a better way? Are we actually looking at this in the right way? What's really going on? Assumption is the plague that can disrupt business because, as they all say, assumption makes an ass out of you and me, and it totally does. It can destroy things because you're just literally guessing. It's just a polite word of saying I guessed it.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and all your insights. It's always lovely to speak. And, we're changed by the minute, but I'm sure we could have done hours on this.
Oh, thanks, Arta.
Have a lovely day.
Bye.